Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other video that I have posted in the past. If you have any video that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. John loves salmon, but like many people, he's afraid to cook salmon because he knows that salmon is expensive. If he messes it up, he's going to waste a lot of money. A lot of time when John buys salmon, it comes in a big piece. And most of the time, he cannot eat all of it. And sometimes he will cook all of it and he end up eating the salmon left over. So the concern is that how are you able to cook salmon that you will have a good control of it, that make sure that you cook it correctly. And secondly is that can you save salmon that if you only want to cook a small portion at a time. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to demonstrate this with you a cold hot salmon, which is a salmon that we really enjoyed. Now, I purchased the salmon usually on sale, and so that when I brought it home, I cut it up into small pieces. Now, it turned out that when you cook salmon in small pieces, you have much better to able to control the texture and doneness of the salmon. And using this method, you will never overcook your salmon because you have much better control. And this probably is the best way to cook salmon, as you can cook it to the exact texture that you like. Now, cutting up into small pieces is the first step. However, I always purchase salmon that has never been frozen. The reason for that is that now I can cut it up and then I can freeze it. Now, usually if you purchase salmon that have never been frozen, you can freeze it, and if you use it within about a month, the quality usually do not change significantly. Of course, it's much better to eat it fresh, but still, this will allow you to save the salmon. So the best way to save the salmon is that after you cut it up, you put them into a Ziploc sandwich bag. Now, I use Ziploc sandwich bag for all my proteins because they're about the right size. And since I use most of my frozen protein in about a month, the Ziploc sandwich bag will do a reasonably good job. Now, if you want to freeze them for a long time, then probably the best way is to use freezer bag or use somewhere that you can seal them properly. But for about a month, they works very well. Now, the nice thing about cutting up into small pieces is that you can now freeze them in the size that you want. And this allows you to eat whatever portion that you need. And I usually find that a 6 to 8 ounce portion is just good enough for my wife and I. And usually we do not need a whole lot of salmon because it works really well just as a condiment. Using this method is also very economical because now I can buy salmon on sale and I can portion them, and then each meal it will only cost me about maybe $5 or $6 instead of $10 or $12. And I find that this way allow me to eat salmon in an economical way. Salmon has great nutritional value, and because of this reason, when we love the salmon, it is probably an exceptional way to stretch your dollars. Here, I'm going to demonstrate how to cook a salmon dish with mushroom and on top of that of fresh spinach. It's a great dish. So let's go into the kitchen and we'll get started, and I'll show you how I cook this salmon dish. Now, I use a Cuisine 14-inch stainless steel wok, and there's a good reason why this is my favorite wok. This is frequently known as a wok pan because it has a relatively large flat surface area that allow you to lay out your food ingredients like you're using a small frying pan. Now, some people might ask, is it a wok pan? Is it as good as stir-frying as compared to a round bottom wok? And the answer is both yes and no. For most people who cook in a home kitchen, a wok pan is more than adequate for you to stir your ingredients enough so you can cook everything without having them get burned. Now, however, if you work in the professional kitchen, that you're going to have a 250,000 BTU jet burner, then in this case, a round bottom wok is definitely better because a round bottom wok allows you to toss the food ingredients in it. So if you cook in a high heat, then that is a tremendous advantage. As you can see in here, I'm able to lay out the salmon on a flat bottom surface wok, such as the Cuisine 14-inch wok, and to give me enough space to spread them out. Now, you notice that I lay the salmon with the skin down. And the reason for that is that the salmon skin contains a lot of fat. And by laying it down like this, the first step I'm going to cook is that I'm cook the salmon with high heat so that the oil will be driven out from the skin. And the end result is that I can char the skin, and charring the skin has great benefit in terms of the flavor of the salmon. It gives the salmon a crispy texture on the spot where the skin is, and it makes the skin really tasty. Now, until I cook this method, we normally do not eat the skin because it tends to be oily. But after I use this method, my wife, the first one, told me that she said she would not want me to cook the salmon any other way because she really liked the charring of the skin. And this method allows you to make the skin. Normally, most people tend to throw it away, but now actually become the most delicious part of the salmon. Now be careful. One thing I want to point it out to you is that when you cook salmon, there's going to be a lot of spattering because of the moisture that inevitably present in the salmon. And it takes only about maybe a minute to a minute and a half to fry the bottom part of the skin so that it can turn into this char. But you notice that the salmon still not quite completely cooked. The top part of the salmon remain to be raw. Now this is the important part because you do not want to overcook the salmon. So the thing to prevent it from overcook is to add other food ingredients to it. And there's no better thing to add is mushroom. Mushroom cook very quickly. As soon as you add the mushroom, it will drop the temperature of the oil and it will allow now cook the salmon more at a moderate speed. I use first with some king oyster mushroom and I follow by some shiitake mushroom. And when you use this method, I keep my electric stove, which is a flat glass top electric stove, in its full setting. I don't have to worry about things being overcooked or being burned because I use this method to control the temperature of the oil. So as I stir fry the mushroom with the salmon now stay together because it has been cooked. It will not fall apart. And you notice that as I stir fry the mushroom, the oil are being absorbed by the mushroom. Now, if you look at the bottom of the wok, most of the oil is gone. The mushroom is excellent for absorbing oil. And in fact, not only it absorbs the oil, make the dish less oily, but the oil infiltrate into the mushroom, it make the mushroom taste great. So adding the mushroom is the essential step in cooking a dish like this. Next, I'm going to add some Shaoxing cooking wine. And the reason I add cooking wine is because mushroom loves wine. It will soak up the wine and will give the mushroom really great flavor. Okay, now the dish actually essentially is done. I'm going to garnish the dish with some colored bell pepper. These are miniature colored bell pepper. It will give the dish both a nice appearance as well as great texture. Last but not the least, I'm going to add some scallion that I've cut into strips. The scallion basically behave like onion. It gives the dish a nice onion flavor. So you can season the dish any way you want. I happen to have some teriyaki sauce on hand, and I was too lazy to create my own sauce. So I just put some teriyaki sauce in it. In a dish like this, you don't need very much sauce, just a little bit of sauce because the dish already has great flavor, which contributed by the salmon as well as by the two different kinds of mushroom. Now I use a fresh bed of spinach. The spinach will really taste great because of the sauce from the salmon will seep into the spinach. The spinach is uncooked. It has a nice leafy flavor. It gives an excellent contrast between the cooked mushroom and the salmon. Food is all about generating contrast, and this will allow you to really appreciate the flavors of all the ingredients in the dish because of the contrast that is generated. Again, you can season the dish any way you want, but the teriyaki sauce will also bring out the flavor of other ingredients in this dish. The total cook time of this dish is fast. It's only about 5 minutes. So if you arrive home at 7 p.m. at night, you're tired, you want to have something fast, normally you might say you go to the freezer and get a frozen pizza, but this is going to be much better, more delicious than any frozen food that you can find. All you have to do is now go into the freezer and grab a package of salmon that you have already cut up and put it in a bowl of lukewarm water, and the salmon will be ready for you to cook in about 10 minutes. And in 5 minutes cooking this dish, you have dinner on the table. If you want to have some rice, if you already have some rice in the refrigerator, you can just microwave it. So as you can see is that this could be a wonderful alternative to fast and ultra-processed food. On top of that, it is economical and it is delicious. It is truly a meal that you will get in a fancy restaurant, but you can do it at home for less than $10. Okay, so I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.